This podcast is for a mature audience and may be viewed as inappropriate or insensitive to some. Listener discretion is advised. The intention is to share conversation of like and unlike-minded individuals as they try to be the best them they can be in a life full of challenges, searching for love, acceptance, and positivity. Call 669-241-1422 and share yourself or catch up with Sweet Baby J for an anonymous face-to-face interview. Feel free to call in with questions, stories, thoughts, or anything you would love to talk about and share. Nothing is off the table when talking sweet with Sweet Baby J at 669-241-1422.
Ladies and gents and ladies, once again, you are here talking sweet with the one and only Sweet Baby J. As always, a no-face, no-case scenario, but we still allow our guests the opportunity to share their name or not. We have this beautiful young lady sitting before me today.
Beautiful and getting old.
Listen, a lot of people don't get that blessed opportunity, so you are
This is true.
above the game.
Very true.
So, young lady, would you like to share your name or not?
Yeah, Donna Goldman.
Donna Goldman.
Yep.
So,
Been married a few times and have a bunch of different names in there. But
a few times. How many times were you married?
2.
Okay. How we met was very wild. I would think in the hotel, I saw her room open, and I'm like, excuse me, whoever you are, your room is open. And you're like, I know. How did you feel with that interaction? Because I was always a little hesitant.
I thought it was typical New York.
Oh.
I mean, people in New York aren't going to go, let me go in and rob her. They tell you something is wrong. So that's what I love about New York. Now, I can't say the same for other parts of the world.
Have you ever lived in Florida?
Yes, I have. I had a house in Boca.
Is there a difference between a Florida interaction and a New York interaction?
Oh, yeah. In Florida, they use fake Louis Vuittons. And if you don't have a fake Louis Vuitton, you have no class.
Damn.
And in New York, they use real Louis Vuitton. And
Don't get caught with a fake one. You'll be called out.
it's very different in Florida. No offense to the people in Florida, but usually in Florida, you're either going into prison, in prison, or just out of prison.
Oh, my gosh.
So you always have to say to somebody, when did you spend time in prison? And they tell you. They are honest about it.
Florida man. Everybody, yeah, eventually you're going to see Florida man.
It's unbelievable, but they do see those prisons.
We got to talking, and I must say, you are probably one of the most interesting people that I've came across while on my trip to New York. We hit so many topics in such a short span.
That's true.
We talked about race relationships from then till now. We both come from the same area in Queens.
It's amazing, right?
Yeah.
You meet somebody, tells you a door is open, and then we start talking, and he goes, well, you know, my family, and he tells me the area, and I went, oh my God, that's where I grew up, and that's where I lived when I was first married. So it's amazing.
I was talking about the documentary that I saw. I can never remember the name of it. The More Things Change. It was a PBS documentary about race relations in Rosedale, Queens.
Right.
And you said you remember those times in which black people were not really welcomed.
Oh, hell no. Hell no. It wasn't so much when, and I hate to say it this way, but when the Jews started moving into Rosedale, there wasn't a problem. We weren't brought up like that. But generally speaking, statistically, Rosedale was Italian, very Italian, very Sicilian, and so was St. Albans and Springfield Gardens. And trouble started happening between the kids hanging out at the corners, and before you knew it, the Italians were just going after the black guys.
Yeah.
And then eventually, you know, the Italians moved out because the parents were afraid for their kids. You know.
You don't find many Italians in Rosedale right now.
No, there are not too many Italians, not too many Jews, not too many white people, as we were talking about.
Well, they lost out because, you know, the property values have skyrocketed, and that was a part of wealth that they gave up. Who knows where they went?
That's true. Well,
Yeah.
a lot of them went to Long Island, and because those houses are now worth, $2 million, $2.5 million. But the taxes are, in comparison to Queens, the taxes in Long Island are insane.
Yeah.
I mean, they're literally insane. For a postage stamp in a good school district, you're talking between easily $18,000 and $30,000 for a postage stamp.
Would you say that having those opportunities to have houses is a great way to build generational wealth for families?
Yes, I do. I think real estate holdings are always a wonderful thing if you know what you're doing. I've known some people that did real estate, and they would come to me and say, as I'm a venture capitalist, and they would say, why don't you invest with me? And I would go, no way, because they didn't know what they were doing. And then you have the people that are smart and know what they're doing, and they buy into areas where they're going to see appreciation that's astronomical. Now, with COVID and everything going on, and COVID has not ended.
No.
There are still offices being shut down in New York, and there are offices downtown Manhattan that are never going to reopen. Never. And with the immigrants coming in and the shelters having to be open just for the immigrants, not taking care of the New Yorker, not taking care of the people that have paid the taxes here, it's really causing dissension.
Yeah.
It really is.
I can see that.
I mean, the mayor's not doing anything to help the people that were here.
Well, I think that's been going on for a while. I don't think too many people are a fan of de Blasio.
Well, de Blasio was horrible. And now we have Adams, who keeps talking about how terrific he is. And yeah, I don't see terrific for the New Yorker, for the American, for the people that need the help. I don't see that.
You did mention that you were a venture capitalist.
Yeah.
When did you start that? How did you get into that?
Well, I went to school. I got my master's at a very, very young age in finance, and came out like everybody else going, well, what am I going to do now? And I said, well, where can you use money? Where is the knowledge of money most prolific? And I went, Wall Street. So I interviewed with a few firms, became part of a firm, and through a lot of luck, hard work and luck, because so much of our lives are luck,
Yeah.
I believe, I became a senior partner at a very young age. So I've been doing this for 40-something years.
How old? You say a very young age.
I was senior partner at 21.
Oh. And how old are you now, if you don't mind sharing?
67.
Oh, look at you.
67 years old. So when people ask me my age, I always go, I'm 67, but I can tell you that I'm 47 if you want. Let's make it 47.
There you go.
So, my whole life, the one thing I had was this inevitable trait, like this knowledge. For some reason, it was like luck. That's why I say so much luck.
Mm-hmm.
Because I would look at a company and go, my partners were so much older than me. And I would look at them and just go,
Don't do it.
My head, no. And I made only one mistake in life. I'm not going to say which company it was. It's not fair to the company. But every other situation where I said, don't do it, we made the right move. And I'm very good at looking at something and knowing, is it going to make money? People think I'm being negative and I'm ripping apart their life and their ideas and their concepts. And you're not letting me think, and you're not letting me be creative. And I'll go, no, be realistic. We were speaking before, and you speaking about a business that you are doing, and I brought up a million things, and you said, my wife would agree with you. And I said, yeah, that's right.
Yes.
You need to do every single ounce of research before you go and do a business.
Before you dive in.
That's right. And nowadays, people think if they go to the stock market, they're going to make a fortune. Yeah, there have been the people that went to Microsoft and Apple and Amazon, and they made some money. But how many people did that in the end?
Let's be clear with that. When you're saying there are people that went and bought stock, you're not talking about people that went and bought 10 shares or anything of the sort.
Absolutely.
Because if you're going to make the money, it's not 10 shares or 20 shares.
It's spending hundreds of thousands of dollars. And the average person does not have $100,000 to invest, let alone 200, 500, $1 million. They don't have it. On top of which, the stock market is long-term holding, 5 years or more. And everybody's got jobs and businesses they're running. They can't sit in front of a screen. One tick up, sell. One tick down, buy. They just can't do it.
But a lot of people have been getting into this day trading.
And then they call me up looking to sell for me because they can't make a living. Day trading, unless you have been a broker, you really don't know how to do it. And you're not going to take some course somewhere that some guy is selling. Because quite frankly, if he was so prolific at what he does, he wouldn't be selling the course. He would be just day trading and making millions of dollars every day. Day trading is not something I suggest for most people.
For the average Joe.
No. And stock market, up, down, you don't control your money in the stock market. I've been a part of public companies. as long as my contract read correctly, I knew I could do this, I could do that, and I did it under the rules of my contract. Did I need to buy a third car? No, but I had it in my contract. Now,
As in the company bought you a car?
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, of course. What do you think goes on?
So how does that work? So a company just a part of your contract, they'd offer you a car. Do you get to choose the car, or?
Oh yeah, I'd be driving down the road and see a car in the window of a shop, and I would go, looks good, and I'd pull over, walk in, pay cash, say my assistant will come pick it up tomorrow, and leave. And it was totally legal. The companies were doing very well. I've never been a part of a company. Unbelievable, knock on wood, I'm banging on my head for you people out there, in my life that didn't make money.
You got into this very young.
Yeah.
Now, we always hear about the trials and tribulations of women moving up that ladder, and sometimes that there is a glass ceiling for that ladder, but you seem to be talking of a different story.
I found that it was easier years ago than it is today. The problem today is women think that if they go into business to be successful, they have to kick the crap out of the men and everybody. If you want to be successful, become one of the boys' club. You want to be successful, become one of the guys. And then when you're the head of the company or own the company, they'll respect you. But when you think like kicking them all day long is going to work, it doesn't. And what they do more than anything is kick the women. Such as I go into a hospital and there's a female doctor. And half the time I have to say to them, can you put your hand out, let's shake, and let's talk nicely to each other? Because I do understand medicine for reasons in business, and they don't like that. Whereas a man will stand there and talk to me. A male doctor will stand there and talk to me about medicine.
As a person.
That's right. But a woman won't. Very rarely will they. And I don't believe they're doing anything to move ahead in the world.
So you're saying that this is a position that some women, because we're not saying all, but a position that some women find themselves in because they've put themselves there because of a mental.
Yeah. Yeah, they're the biggest bigots.
Wow.
The women are the biggest bigots. And, I just want to scream sometimes. So what I do is I turn my head, and then they'll look at me and go, you're not listening to what I'm saying? And I go, absolutely not.
One of the arguments that I've heard, one of the reasons why women in sports do not get paid the way that they feel that they should is because they're not supported enough by women.
That's right.
Probably
so. I'm not into, sports.
But what I'm saying is that, like, if more women would flock to the stands for, let's say, a WNBA game and support one another,
absolutely,
then the female athletes can start demanding more pay because the numbers are there.
Absolutely.
Men do it. Their NBA is packed.
Right. But let's look at all the people that go into sports and don't make big money.
Yeah.
The average person that goes into sports doesn't make big money. It's the guy here, a guy there, a guy there that makes the millions and millions and millions of dollars, the big dollars. The average person doesn't. And when you're talking about sports, my attitude is whether you're a man or a woman, and if you have the ability to be in sports, one is you have to make sure that your scholarship or whatever is allowing you to become something else alongside the sports person. Because you're not going to play sports forever.
For the rest of your life.
And you need to be successful.
We've seen that with some athletes that have become drug addicts, homeless.
That's right.
After they've made millions of dollars, which is a very sad thing.
Yes.
Because you've had the opportunity to get someplace where many wish and can't, and you've thrown it all away.
But a lot of them, from what I have been told and read and understand, they're leaving college with a degree that's forced upon them because they can't even read high school level. They just don't have the ability. They would have never been in that college had they not had the scholarship and the school didn't want them for sports.
So they were exploited.
That's it. Absolutely. And especially, you'll find the black sports athlete. He's exploited even more. He really is. The likelihood is many times the families don't have education. They're just so excited to see their son have the ability to make money. Come on, you got to make this money. Yeah, it's wonderful, but what's it going to be when he's 28, or if he gets hurt, or whatever happens? he needs a career.
Yeah.
And what is he going to make? 200,000, 300,000 a year.
After making those millions, sent into depression.
Right. But he doesn't always make the millions. That's
Yeah.
the thing. He makes garbage. Not garbage, I shouldn't say, but he's not making a lot of money that he can stick away
Yeah.
and open a business. He's not Magic Johnson. He's not,
LeBron.
he's not those guys. And how many of them are there?
Yes. We have mentioned the topic of race several times, and one of the things that you said last night when we met was that how back in those days people would be like, "Don't." What did you say? Don't.
They
don't,
still say it.
Don't talk to them; they'll mug you.
Don't answer that black person back because they'll mug you. They'll come after you. And I would look at these people today. I still hear it, and I'll go, "What are you talking about? They have no respect for you." Because you don't
respect them,
and you don't be quiet. Don't say anything around them. Oh my God, they'll pull a knife, they'll pull a gun. Today, when you're out in the street, you don't approach people and you don't get nasty. Not because they're black or white, because everybody out there is crazy. And you don't know who's got a gun, who's got a knife. And it's best to keep your mouth shut after what's going on with crime. That's different.
Yeah. A lot of people have this mindset that racism is over. And then, not at all. And then some people are aware that it happens behind closed doors.
Right.
And it's just, how does one maneuver, like when we think of something like reparations or...
You know what? I think everybody needs to go, okay, let's go put a line at the bottom of the page, like a double line, like as if you're doing a ledger book, the old-fashioned ledger books, and let's start from scratch. This one doesn't owe me money. That one isn't going to pay money. We can't keep doing this.
It's the truth.
We need to just work together.
I believe that we all do need to work together, but when we say start from scratch, we also have to really take into consideration that even started from scratch, just the way that society is set up, there are some that have a head start.
It's true, but I have dealt with anti-Semitism my whole life.
Yeah.
I remember going to New Jersey, and I'll say the town, many years ago. Geez, it had to be, I was 10 years old, 11 years old. And we went to my friend's, with her mother, her grandmother's house in Wooten, New Jersey. And we went into town, and the sign on the window said, no kikes,
What the
no
hell?
niggers, and no something else. They didn't talk about gays back then. And I looked at her mother, and I went, what does this mean? Because I'd never heard the word kike. And she said, when we go back to the house, I'll explain. And we went back, and I was very upset. And she sat down and said, okay, let me talk to you. And she explained it to me. And I said, then why are you here? Why did you come to this town? Get rid of the house. At that age, get rid of it. And she said, well, my grandmother my mother bought it, and our family's been coming here for years, and what are you going to do? And she actually called my mom to say to my mother, I'm going to explain. They knew each other, of course. I'm going to explain to Donna what this is about. And my mother said, go ahead. She's a very smart kid. She'll understand. But she's going to be upset. So I've dealt with it my whole life.
Yeah.
And I've gotten a lot of it from black people. I had it the other day. Somebody saying something to me. And in the same day, a black man and a white man both said something. And I looked and I said, there's no hope. There's no hope out there.
How can someone look at you and just tell?
Well, I'm a New York Jew, and I don't hide it by my attitude and everything else. I say to people, listen, don't, you know the word, guys, don't, F with me. I am your worst scenario. I am a New York Jew with a brain, a woman, and I will get you. And I'm not embarrassed by it. I am who I am.
And you should never be embarrassed by who you are.
Absolutely
No one should be.
Absolutely not. And people walk around saying every Jew is rich. No, they're not. No, they're not. And you know what? They pay a fortune to live in places to send their kids to the best schools. They pay a fortune for the schools. You work hard. If you don't work hard, nowadays maybe parents aren't hitting their kids as much as they did when I was a kid. But truthfully, you're going to hear it. You're not going to like your life or be able to sit down if you don't do well in school. And then when you get out, you're expected to make a very good living. Nobody's going to help you. Nobody's going to give it to you. Nobody. And I didn't know any other way in my life.
How many brothers and sisters do you have?
I had one sister.
Really?
I don't really want to talk about that.
No. The reason why I ask about that is because when, let's say I go to Brooklyn and I see these Jewish families, it's usually like 4 kids, 5 kids.
That's Hasidim.
Oh.
The guys with the payas and everything?
Yes.
Those are Hasidim. I'm not a Hasidim. I'm
Educate
a Jew.
me.
I'm not an Orthodox Jew. I'm
Okay.
Reformed. I prefer conservative temple if I'm going to temple, which I don't usually. But I would be considered definitely very reformed.
Oh, okay.
But if you say to me, what are you? I'll look at you and go, an American. And then, well, what race are you? What religion? Oh, I'm Jewish.
Oh, okay.
I'm an Ashkenazi Jew. My father's parents came from Russia. And they didn't come here because they wanted to collect money. They came here because they were burning the villages, and they put them on boats like steerage, and nobody wanted them in the world. If this country hadn't taken us, we would have ended up in Brazil, something like that. But our names weren't even what your name turns out to be.
Yeah.
It's different. But I see the problems for black people, and I see the problems for Jews. Italians have just about had it. They just go off on their own. They've had it. My husband was Italian. Mm-hmm. I went to church with him. I did all the stuff with him. We did things together.
So you were Jewish and you went to church with him?
Sure. He wanted to go to church on Sunday, so his wife.
Was there any conflict of interest, or did you ever feel strange being in a church?
Never.
No?
Never felt anything. The only problem was at the end of the sermon, they would hold up pictures of abortions, like a woman has an abortion, she's 2 weeks pregnant, and here's this 9-month-old baby being thrown into a garbage pail.
They would do that in church?
Oh, yeah.
What the heck?
And my husband would go, oh, God. Because he knew I was going to stand up. I had volunteered for Bill Baird for abortions when I was very young. And I was going to stand up and go, that is an outright lie. And so many people here had abortions, but you won't look me in the face, will you? But I'm not going to turn you in. And I would get up and he would go, we're going to leave now. And we would walk out of the church. And nobody ever said anything to me. Nobody walked outside and cursed me or anything like that.
Where we are at now in society with the laws changing and everything like that, what's your outtake on that?
I still believe in abortion. I don't believe a woman should be able to get an abortion when she's 3 months pregnant, 4 months pregnant, 5 months.
You've had a lot of time to make a choice.
Yeah, that's right. And I'm sorry, that is not. You're giving birth to a baby then, and then you are killing the baby, and I don't believe in that. But I think it's the woman's obligation to know if she's pregnant immediately, and if she can't take the Plan B pill so that she doesn't get pregnant immediately the next day, well then the first week, the second week, the third week, go for an abortion. But don't stand there and wait around. What are you waiting for? For God to come down, intervention? It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So I do still believe in it, but I don't believe in long-term abortion.
For me personally, I just don't believe that any man should be making a choice on what a woman does with her body. That's just me.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I don't feel that a lot of these politicians that are putting these laws in place, come on now, we know they've had a situation or 2 or 3 or 4.
They've had girlfriends, all of them in Washington, and all of them have gotten their girlfriends pregnant because the girl thinks, well, I'll get me pregnant, and then he will leave his wife and marry me. Correct? You're a man. Isn't that what women do many times?
Me being
He's married. He doesn't want to say anything, people.
Me being married, I do know that does happen. I cannot imagine that happening to me. I cannot imagine putting myself in a situation where that choice would be on the table for anyone. That's ridiculous to me.
Yeah. First of all, whatever your relationship is with someone, if you're having sex, it's the obligation of the man and the woman to
protect
use
themselves.
To use protection. I mean, Planned Parenthood will hand it out for free. For free. You don't even have to go to the drugstore and pay a lot of money. So, what's the problem?
Yeah.
Just go to Planned Parenthood and get it for free. And you know what? If he's old enough to be having sex with you is old enough to pay for the protection.
Yeah, that's the truth.
If you don't have the money, don't play the game.
Yeah.
You know?
It's Russian roulette.
You commit the crime, you're going to pay the time.
Yeah.
But everybody, these young girls, it's proven statistic that teenagers that have babies, one child, by the time they're 20, will have 2, 3 children. This is not good.
No.
They don't have the money to support these children. And truthfully, I don't know about you people or anybody out there or you, Jay, but I don't want to support them. I don't want to support your children.
I can agree.
You don't have the money, don't have the kids.
Yeah. I have to agree with you. Considering your parents' background, your background, to now being a venture capitalist, how do you see your journey?
My journey?
Like, how do
What
you
mean?
do you look back and say, I've done a lot? Do you look back and say, I wish I've done more?
No, I look back and say, my God, the life you had was incredible. I got to travel all over the world. My husband died, the one that I was really married to.
Really married to?
Well, he was a long-term husband.
So wait, it was a fake marriage?
Yeah, I take him and I cut him up. I bring him in my suitcase with me every place I go. He died, he passed away very young.
Oh.
So I was able to travel the world, had homes in different parts of the world. I have shopped in, this is all on my money, folks. I have shopped in the best stores in the world. I've eaten in the 5-star restaurants. What is my favorite evening? Not getting on the Concorde, not doing those things. It was going to a friend's house with a bunch of couples, sitting in front of a fireplace when the kids are sleeping, and playing a board game with some wine and some drinks and, popping some little edibles into the, not drugs. I didn't mean it that way. But, like little hors d'oeuvres and stuff into the oven.
Oh,
taking
okay.
them out,
When you
having
said
fun.
edibles, I was
Right,
like, okay.
Right. I realized after I said it.
She was
There were
having some
words-
fun.
There are words that have changed now. I don't do drugs.
Okay.
Never. And that was, of all the evenings I've spent, those were the best times. I remember going down with a bunch of couples to Maryland to see one of the couples that had moved there for business, and they had a new baby, and we're all sitting there, and I was the only Jew there, but I had brought my menorah because it was the last night of Hanukkah, and I wanted to finish lighting the candles, and they had the Christmas tree up. It was all at the same time. And the tree is on, the menorah, all the candles were lit. We're all sitting there, and my best friend in the world, who passed away right after my husband, said, "Everybody stop." And we all looked at him and said, "What?" He said, "This is the most perfect moment. Just look around you. The kids are sleeping, the fireplace is lit, the tree is on, the menorah is burning. We will never have another moment like this. Appreciate it." And I will never forget that moment for the rest of my life.
I thought you was going to say, where's the Kwanzaa?
No, sorry. Well, Kwanzaa's not that old a religion, a
celebration,
festival,
yeah.
celebration. And it's an American one, which I had done a lot of research on it because where did this come from? But somebody the other day tried telling me, well, Kwanzaa's the same as Hanukkah because it has a bunch of candles. I said, that's not what Hanukkah's about. It's a festival, yes, but each one has a meaning. You just made a fool out of Jews and the blacks.
There you go. How do you find yourself as a venture capitalist allowing for people that you do business to live the life that you have lived?
I do try to help out as much as possible, paying forward. I do try to listen, like we spoke before, and I said to you, I would go over numbers with you and such about your business. You are, from what I can tell and see, I don't know you long, a good businessman, but make the mistakes that most men make. And men, women, whatever. But you make the same mistakes. And I don't want to know that somebody is making those mistakes. So I will take time and do that. There are times where it gets to a certain point where I have to say, okay, I'm on consulting. This is what it's going to cost. And I do still have the companies. I have a project going, by the way. I do tell everybody, and you can check with all the venture capitalists in the country, I mean, those of you that watch Shark Tank, you'll hear them say it a million times and read about it. Equity investments are what makes you money. When you have an investment where somebody has a company, and in order to make that work, in order to put money in their pocket, they have already spent a fortune, worked hard. They're doing 18 hours a day, 6-7 days a week to make that company. Nothing's going to bring you in money as quickly and as securely as an equity investment.
Can you explain what an equity investment is, please?
You're investing in a company. You're investing equity investment. It could also be considered like real estate. It's not stock. You're right. Like we were saying before, stock is not a viable option for most people. And if you want to make money, stock is not the place to go. So in other words, I have a company that we haven't really spoken about, but it's a partnership. Why do I do partnership? Because you're a partner in the company when you invest. The investment is not drastic. And on top of that, you're only taxed once. So there's no double taxation like with stock. So your profits come in. We're not taxed on the level of the partnership in office. We distribute the profits to the partners, and the partners pay tax on it like as if they have a job and they got profit. They made money, like a 1099. So they are not double taxed, and it's wonderful. And the government will usually try to help people and give them all kinds of options and things like that tax-wise with a partnership. As a partner, once you're a partner, if you have people that you want to bring into the partnership, it is your obligation to do such if there are really good people. I don't let people get on the phone and try to sell it to people, because if you're going to your brother, your cousin, whatever, many times you think they have the money to invest, but they might not. And then you're causing dissension. Thanksgiving comes and everybody hates each other. You hate each other enough. You don't need a profit problem.
So great thing right there. Would you recommend going into partnership or doing business with family?
Depends on the family, but absolutely no. No. I really don't. I think it causes problems. I think it causes, like I said, dissension. I think you end up not speaking many times to your family over it. I knew a gentleman who had a huge lab, did half the products out there that are in drugstores, they manufacture under FDA control and everything. And he brought his family in, and they bought out the company with him involved. And I remember the day that I called him, and he was sitting at a bar in the afternoon. And I said, "What are you doing at a bar in the afternoon?" He said, "I'm ready to kill myself. I can't believe it. I don't want to go to holidays. I don't want to see my family. Every time we speak, I see them. Question after question after question after question. This was the biggest mistake." And I said, "You should have come to me and spoken to me. I would have told you before you did it."
Wow.
Big mistake. And it was the kind of company we could have raised funds privately for in a minute.
How do you raise funds privately?
It takes money. It takes a lot of money, and you have to have all the packages. You have to make sure your paperwork is up to snuff. Even in a partnership where the government doesn't control it, I still believe that we go by government regulation, because if they ever change, we are meeting with you already.
You're toe the line.
That's it. I mean, we are part of this country, and it's still the best country in the world. And I'm not going to put it down, and I'm not going to make fun of it. So you don't even need a broker's license to sell it, but they have to be working under the managing partner, such as what I am in my company.
So you're a managing partner.
I'm the managing partner. So I will always own more than anybody involved in a partnership. Why do I do that? It's not out of ego. It's not because I want to make more money. It's because I'm protecting everyone. I don't want one partner to now walk in and say, "I know better," and boom, he destroys the companies. And I am protecting myself and the money I've put in, and I'm protecting every partner. I never give out anybody's name, information, who they are, where they live, nothing.
Oh, you're like me, talking sweet.
Yeah.
Keep the identity on the low.
That's right. That's right. No, they're investing. And perhaps they don't want their wife to know the investments they make. Many of them have it sent to their office.
Wow.
Because women statistically, well, I want the money in a bank because if anything happens between us, I can go to the bank, grab the money, lay it out on the floor, and run my toes through it.
And run off with the pool boy.
Yeah, it just...
Is that very common for people in business to hide things from their spouse?
Yeah, it
Wow.
seems to be. Seems to be. And then I get the people that say, I want my wife to know everything about it. She signs paperwork. She's part of the whole thing. I respect both. It depends who you're married to.
Yeah.
And there are women that just don't want to make investments. I've had friends like that, where the husband would look at me and go, I'm going to kill her. Explain to her why we need investments. And I'll go, because he's working his butt off, and he can't make enough money with his own two hands. So he needs to use other people's hands to make that money.
It's the truth.
And the women will pull you aside and go, but what if he decides to leave me? What if you have found him cheating? I want to be able to get my hands on the money. And I'll say, well, if it's invested, you're not going to.
Well, I mean, to be worried about those type of things, it's like, come on.
But, when you're married enough years...
It's lingering. It's like
your friend down the block, it happened to the woman at the church or the synagogue or the
It's
the
like
PTA.
it's a never-ending mistletoe. It's always hanging over somebody's head.
Yeah. So it's absolutely. So right now, as we were talking, and I told Jay I was going to discuss it, we have a partnership. It's a holding company. There are 3 companies in it, 2 of which we made a bloody fortune with in the past, but the past is not indicative of the future. Let me put the disclaimer in there. So those companies are all web-based, infomercial web-based. I know they will do even better now because that was before COVID, now after COVID. Who isn't buying online?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even want to walk to a store.
Exactly.
I just want to go Amazon. They bring it right to your door. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
So 2 of the companies are excellent companies. And the third one, I've not been in this business before, but since the licensing changed in New York for recreational cannabis, I don't smoke cannabis. I don't touch it. But it shows a 4,587% return on investment.
How much is that return?
4,587% return on investment. Yep.
That's quite nice.
That's unbelievable. So the investment is $17,975. I couldn't get it to the 18. I couldn't get those numbers to add up, right? But it's just short of 18,000. You get all 3 companies for 18,000.
Is that what you invested into the company, or?
Oh, I put a lot of money in
okay.
the company. I put a lot in. But we made a lot of money with the first 2 companies, the ones that we had prior. And one's women's accessories, and the other one is skincare, anti-aging. We own the formula. I still own it. I sold up parts of the company. I still have the client list. I still have, So we're sitting pretty. We're in a great position.
So as you get older and you've acquired so much financial stability, what are you doing? Like, what do you do?
Well, I decided I said maybe I'll retire. That's why I sold off the companies. And then I was sitting there and realized I had bought the same pair of shoes 6 times. I was so bored. I was calling everybody, you want to go to lunch? You want to meet me for our early dinner? You want to... And people said to me, you're losing your mind. I'm not a golf player. I'm not a tennis player. What kind of hobby am I going to have? Woodworking? So I'm like, hey, there's only so many times I can go get my hair dyed, my haircut. I can only buy makeup so many times. I was bored.
Yeah.
And I said no. Even before COVID started, I said, I'm going to reopen these 2 companies. And then I knew the licensing was changing. I had an in on that with attorneys and knew what was going to happen. And it's a wonderful situation. I mean, for those of you out there that want to contact me about consulting for their businesses or make the investment, learn about it, because it's paperwork, you've got to read it, and you have to go over it with me. I don't play games. If you don't have the time and you just want to sign and write a check or, send the money in, I can't do that. You have to do it the right way.
Well, what's the company or what's the business name?
It's Marketing Mavens, LLC. And
Spell that out, please, because we want no mistakes.
MARKETING, new word, MAVENS, LLC.
Okay.
And our email address is one of them, is MM, M as in Mary, LLC, limited liability company, 555 at AOL.com. I prefer the business emails. I've just about had it with them. So I prefer AOL.
I was going to say, you are using AOL? Like, really?
Absolutely. You know what? AOL is still better than Gmail.
Really?
I have never had problem with AOL. Gmail, where is it? It disappeared. Where's the email? It disappeared. I'm calling up going, where's the email? It disappeared. Where AOL, I've never had that problem.
I still have an AOL, and my brother still has an AOL, but I don't use mine. And when I see him active using his, I'm like, dude, upgrade yourself.
No, use it.
Oh.
What's so great about Gmail?
Yeah, I get you.
It's just another company.
I get you.
So, as I said, MMLLC 555 at AOL.com. And we will respond to you immediately. I don't play games. People have questions. You need to have them answered. That's why you're contacting us. And I'm Donna Goldman, and we go over the paperwork. I'd email it out to you.
There you go.
And it's great. I'm going to speak to Jay about it and see who he knows that wants to come in.
You never know.
Yeah. And we'll see what happens, We'll see. But I wish him all the luck with what he's doing because he seems to be on the right path in life. And how can anybody be on the wrong path when they grew up in the same neighborhood I did? So,
Hey, Donna, I appreciate you for bringing all your beauty, your charisma, your energy, and your intellect. I appreciate you. Thank you for talking sweet with Sweet Baby J. All day, every day. It's a no-face, no-case scenario, but you can get some of that good juice.
take care. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you.
That's about it.